After living off-grid van life and now land life for the past 9 years, in this episode, we prepare the WATERMILL for our hybrid electricity system, utilizing solar, gas, and in the future, adding hydro and wind power. But today we dig deep, creating a fireproof trench for our on-grid power to flow through on the days we need it most.
He basically is making it so deep that if there were fires in the future, it's way down in the ground. Like, we're not gonna have to worry about that.
Yep, that was the goal. Welcome back to our channel. If you're new around here, we're Brittany and Drew, two hopeful adventurers who got married and after 8 years of van life, found our dream property and moved across the globe to Portugal, where we're now documenting the journey of transforming this historic WATERMILL into our very first home, not on wheels. Now, let's take in a deep breath and let it out. Let the adventure begin. Boa tarde.
Boa tarde. Nelson's back sooner than we expected, so we were lounging, but now it's time to jump into action.
Besides loving when we have Nelson here to help on our land, I've been somewhat dreading this day because what is about to happen is Nelson is going to dig the trenches in the ground right alongside our camp here for the electrical wires to be strung from the road all the way down to the Moinho. We want to do a hybrid solar and electricity system here. It's the smartest option for us living here in the winter where it gets quite cloudy in the mountains. We don't want to be without hot water when it's an especially cloudy, cold day. But what had me really worried about this whole step in the process was the fact that we were going to have to move camp. We originally thought he was going to have to dig between us and the cat shack, but luckily Nelson came up with a new plan to dig the trench just a little bit over to the side. This is going to be where he digs the trench. What has led us up to this point is the fact that we had the electrical company come and install, I believe it was 4 giant cement poles. We thought that it was going to cost, I don't know, like 10 times
Thousands
more.
And thousands of dollars.
Yeah, we were told to prepare for 15 to 20 grand. And it was like
under 5 grand.
Yeah. So we're counting our blessings. Part of why we thought it would be so expensive is because it took 4 concrete electrical poles and 133 meters of cable to get our power box connected to the nearest tower.
Getting our electric cables up.
And then it would still be another 180 meters of underground cable to connect from our power box all the way down to the WATERMILL. It's starting.
Quite a cliff right here with a big old stump that was left from fires of the past.
Lifting him up off the ground.
Nelson right now is making a small road so he can drive the entire path with the excavator and make sure he can get all the way the distance he needs. And on the return, he'll use his bucket and he'll dig a little trench that's about 1 meter deep or 3 feet that the cable will pass through. And then once they've passed that, in a few days from now, he'll come back and close up the entire canal. But right now, it's important that he just makes it passable so that he can get up there.
And have no fear, the kitties are all down by the WATERMILL and the water where they're staying cool today. They don't even know any of this is going on. Come on, kitty. Good girl, baby. There she is. Come here, sweetie. Come here, good girl. Here you go. You got your buddy now. Tom somewhere. When it comes to taking care of our fur babies and hopes of creating a little less furry babies of our own one day, it's important that I take care of myself. And Ritual's Essential Prenatal is what I trust and choose to take each day because it's formulated with high-quality clean ingredients that are gluten-free, vegan-friendly, non-GMO, and major allergen-free. And this is the first prenatal multivitamin that is made traceable, meaning that Ritual shares the sources and suppliers behind their key ingredients, giving me peace of mind knowing what I'm putting in my body and the body of our future baby. These are actually the only prenatal vitamins that I can take because the delayed release capsules are very gentle on my sensitive stomach. These are also super easy to stay consistent with since you can take them with or without food, and they are so enjoyable because they come with an essence of mint or lemon. And right now, Ritual is offering our community 25% off of your first order using either the QR code on the screen here, or you can also click our link in the video description below and use our code Mr. and Mrs. Adventure 25. So here's to hoping that Ritual can help be a part of making your dreams come true too.
Wow.
I also just want to mention how lucky we are with the wind direction. It seems to be blowing up the hill instead of like right at camp, which is usually the predominant wind direction, like right in our faces. We'd be real dirty right now.
Look at the trench. Hey Brittany, it's not every day we have a Nelson out our front porch. Then there's a whole nother section that he's got to go all the way down the driveway to the mowing unit. Look, he's got it exactly trenched right to the entrance of the red and green tubes at the edge of our electricity box.
Amazing.
Look at the size of that.
You know what this would be fun for?
A
The
bobsled?
Jamaican bobsled team.
I love how I was thinking just like you without you even saying anything.
Like,
He basically is making it so deep that if there were fires in the future or we wanted to cross something over the top of it, it's way down in the ground. Like, we're not gonna have to worry about that.
yep, that was the goal. Whew, now I think I gotta get back in the lagoon. I got my smock on again, my summer smock dress. Everyone's present and accounted for. We were a little confused about the way home looking like this.
So that's a wrap for today. Nelson got pretty far with the canal. And what's really funny is that he made the canal, but realized he parked his car up here on the Grand Terrace And when he went to come out and leave, he realized he had created this massive trench right here and couldn't get out without like trying to go in the ditch over here, and he knocked a little bit of dirt in here, which really bummed him out. And I said, don't worry, it's not a big deal, no faz mal. And he just left for the day. Tomorrow he'll be back to continue the last section here, but we made extremely good progress today. Very impressed with Nelson's skills navigating this terrain, and especially going up that steepness above our camper. Like, wow. Only somebody with years and years of experience on an excavator should do something like that, and Nelson is our guy. I hope you guys have enjoyed Nelson being back as much as we are, because I've learned so much just talking to him about the area around here, the mountain, the old roads, the topography, just all the elements of our land. And he's just a very experienced guy. He grew up all his life in this area, so we're blessed to know him. See a massive rock down in here. This is a big boulder rock. And if you look, our wall above the mill there goes straight through here past this big point, and it's underground going to here. And this is the line of the water that came all the way from down this way. So Nelson's trying to pop that rock out right now. The size of that rock there. Wow. That's what he just pulled out of this section. Mais Pedros? All the old wall. So we think this is what they used to get the water to the mill. We're also thinking that maybe all this dirt didn't reside right here, and it was a big holding tank that they somehow could channel back to the Moinho channel and shoot it down. So this wall was acting as a guide for the water coming from this direction uphill. So now his goal is to take this part of the channel and connect it going down the steep incline to the other part that's down there. And once that's done, this section will be complete. Our electrician should come in the next day or two, get the cable ran. And as you guys are watching this, some things might not be exact order. We may have published things like the container roof prior to this episode.
Or plumbing and septic, like in our last episode.
Some days there's a lot happening, and we just try to keep things kind of in a sequential order for you guys to watch. It's more fun if you can start a video and watch the transformation of that aspect, rather than like a normal day out here that's humble jumble, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. As you guys have seen, opening up the driveway and having this canal is a great step forward in one aspect, but it prevents any of these trucks from getting all the way down the driveway, which means the guys doing the work down there are having to work that much harder, walk uphill, grab the things, carry them down. So they're trying to be strategic in the projects they do. I'm even out of breath from running up and down our hill here, moving cameras, talking to the guys, answering questions. Site manager is a full-time gig, but I have a lot of fun doing it.
There you can see the guys are stringing the tube down into the trench. And I'm in the midst of relocating our kitties because they were a little bit concerned about somebody being in their zone. Behind the watermill we go. Come on, kitties. Good kitties. We're almost there. Come on. Good gummy new. Baby, we're coming. Whenever she hears us, she meows like this. Come on, kitties. And the little sanctuary over here, away from any and all construction. Good gummy new. Oh, actually, these are bay leaves to put in soup. Isn't that fun? They love it back here. There you go. You happy now? You happy? You have your buddies? Yeah. Aww.
A man in the trench. Good to see you. It's been a while.
Oh, yeah.
Is it on a big roll up there and you're just pulling it? Spinning the roll and wow. Right now there's no wire inside the tube and these are just the two plastic tubes, just like the tubes in the house.
Exatamente, Thiago. Bora, Thiago. Arruma os talentos.
Hey, wait for me. Can they really hear that? Yeah. Will they make the sound back?
They should.
Woo! Woo! I see it's all us young guys like you and I that get these jobs. All the way from up there, right down here to where it needs to be connected into the house, into the mains box through the front door here, and into the big center electrical box that's being protected right now.
So next up, they're about to run a red and green large tube down the entire channel, and Tiago is making his way down here as we speak. Pretty crazy, all the tubes going underground under our driveway.
¿Cuántos metros?
100 metros daqui até à casa.
Wow.
100.
100.
Espera!
We got a new delivery of rock powder that they're going to end up putting in the canal for the tubes for the electricity. These guys have still been running all the tubes. Our construction workers are down in the house working.
It is a full day. All teams on deck. You know?
On deck.
I'm just glad the cats are down where it's peaceful.
I know you're happy about that.
I'm really happy about that. It's very important to me.
Humberto just came and said, "You have no neighbors. Your land is so peaceful and beautiful."
Aww. Yeah, not that neighbors are a bad thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, privacy we love. And we love that the village isn't too far away. So we have neighbors when we want them.
We're pretty lucky.
This goes in the channel then?
Yeah, it goes in the canal with the electric tubes.
Ultimately, the reason we want to put this in the canal is it'll protect the tubes from any stones once it gets compacted back and Nelson closes up the channel. That's why we want to use something that's soft like this kind of powder right here.
Bravo, bravo.
I love watching a good sand or gravel delivery. Nothing like it.
It never disappoints.
Never. Well, sometimes. If you have to rake it all to the right place.
Guys, you know, this time last year, there was just like our camper in a mill and a couple clean terraces, and we were still in the process of just creating a nice flat gravelly terrace. So in the hottest weeks and days of the year, it was you and I, babe. We were out there raking the gravel.
This right here is the electricity line that will be connected to the borehole pump, the water well pump, and it will be connected to the main line in the house here right now. They use the red tubing as the indicator for the strongest power that's running around the property here. This line will actually have a freshwater line going through it as well as electricity line. Hiya!
You can see we've made these trenches really big for some of these cables. It's because they're housing not just the cable itself, but the water lines, and we've got quite a distance to go in some cases. You might be wondering, how do they get the wire through these tubes? Well, inside of them they come with a little wire here that they can connect to the big wire, the cable they're going to pass to run the electricity, and then they can fish it all the way through. Actually, it's quite a simple system. You can see there's multiple tubes here, and that's because we have 3 different systems running. One for the pump, one for the mill, and one for a future project. Thinking ahead.
So over here we have the well pump, and we're making a line specific to fire prevention and sprinkler systems. We're gonna have this tube right here going all the way along here, and it'll get mounted up here where we'll have a sprinkler system that will cover the entire house. This is just one of our many steps of fire prevention.
This will make us feel that much better that we can release water that will go into a sprinkler system, a couple of them that will sprinkle and water the entire house here in case of emergency. It's just one of the many things we can do to stay safe. Knock on wood, keeping all things in our prayers that we will never have to endure one of those fires.
Oh! Nice! Animal.
You know, when we made the wall back here, the retaining project, 3,500 buckets. Woo! 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 I'm really looking forward to getting this canal closed back up because I haven't been able to drive to the back container when I need to move big things back and forth. And Nelson and I were laughing. This machine can be heard from like a mile away. It's so squeaky. Sorry to everyone who has animals at home or ears. Apologies. We'll buy Nelson some oil.
They're putting a little bit of sand down in the bottom and covering this up with dirt, and he's pushing out all the big rocks so they don't go back into the hole.
At this stage in the process, we had Nelson covering the electrical tubes in a protective layer of sand, Drew working on finishing our future shade structure for our container and camper van, and half of our construction crew working inside the mill and the other half working with our electricians to create access points along our road for when they're ready to feed the electricity cable through, and other future reasons, I suppose. We do our best to edit these videos focusing on certain projects, but truly we have so many things going on at once. Never a dull moment here at the mill.
So they've actually been running after they put all the sand in here, the marking tape. That way, if anybody's excavating in the future, they'll see where our line of electricity is. And right here, they've installed these cement boxes. And this is where they can pull from. They can lift this up and access the cable that goes all the way down. And we got Nelson covering it all up. These boxes they've been installing at about every, I think, 90 feet, 30 meters. As they come from the top down where they haven't covered it, you can see this is what the boxes look like. Gives them all the connections. This one goes to the pump. This one here comes from the electricity box up top that is fed by the company. This is to our well, and this is from the molino. Cool to see, nice and durable. Gives us access in the future for any problems we might have. Well, I was down there working on some other things. I saw the guys work with Nelson and bring this huge cement box down here. Look at the size of that. Wow. You can see these are the size of the small electric connection boxes. Look quite tiny compared to this grand box. Everyone's on deck today. A lot of jobs are taking place. A lot of moving parts. Here's a closer look at our electricity box up here. And as you can see, this is where they've connected the cable coming up. It's going right through this bottom red one. Because we have some other things going on, we have multiple tubes for different projects, even some future ideas. The camper van's like maybe 300 foot that way at the bottom of this hill. The plan is that we're gonna get another load of that kind of powdery sand, that rock powder up here. Nelson, because he's here, can take his scooper and drop it in from the top. He said he can't actually go from the bottom or navigate this terrain because he'll collapse the entire canal that he created. So it's just gonna have to be loaded from the top, and hopefully we'll use gravity. It'll just give it that much more protection underground before we seal it entirely back up with the original soil.
A few more things need to happen before we can stitch up this seam, so stay tuned because very exciting things are coming in our next episode, like the day we get power.
I got the power. There's the day we're getting hooked up to the grid. How cool is that? Muito obrigado, senhores.